Hello, dears.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm fine, and you?
I'm all right. Hi, Camila. Good to see you here again.
Hi, Roberto. Me too. How are
Yeah,
you?
I'm very well. How about you?
I'm fine.
That's
And your
good to know.
trip? How was your trip?
Long, but good.
Okay.
Okay, it took me almost 4 days to get here, but no problem. Okay. Regina, how are you?
I'm fine, teacher. And you? Where are
I'm okay.
you?
I decided to have the class in a different place, okay?
Oh,
Regina, how was
beautiful place.
Yes, that's the Caffè Torino. Okay, it's a very old
Yeah.
cafe. Okay, very old.
Okay.
Older than me. Can you believe that?
What?
Okay, the cafe is older than me. Okay.
Ah,
I understand now. Me too. Mas é só do
Oh, Regina, how was the situation there in Florianopolis? Was it good
Oh,
yesterday or was it bad?
yes. In my house, it's okay, but the neighborhood.
Yes, in the
Uh,
neighborhood.
in the neighborhood is bad. Is bad.
Yes,
Yes.
I saw
The
in
roof, the
yes
roof, the roof.
yes,
Uh,
many trees fell down,
many trees, and the light, off light.
went out.
Sem luz.
Yeah, went out.
Yes,
There was
went
a
out.
blackout.
Blackout.
Yes, I saw it. I couldn't believe it was like a tornado.
Yes,
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 wow. I saw in Camboriú. Yeah, is
yes,
that?
yes.
That was very bad.
Santa Catarina, and Rio Grande do Sul.
Okay, yes. According to the news, more than 10 people died. It's terrible,
Yes,
terrible. So I'm
terrible.
glad you are okay. Okay.
Yes.
Let me see. Nicholas, how are you today, Nicholas? Good? Carol, how are you
Hello,
doing?
teacher. Good evening. I'm okay. And you?
I'm all right. Thanks. Carol, are you
Hi,
okay?
teacher. I'm fine, and you?
Good, very good. Gloria,
Very good.
how's it going
Hi,
there?
teacher. Hi, teacher. Beautiful view behind
Oh,
you.
I thought it was me.
Beautiful. You're
You
handsome. The view behind
Handsome
you
man.
is great.
Handsome man.
Fantastic. Yeah, I love it. Beautiful view behind me and you are handsome. You made my day, okay?
It's Cafe
Thank you.
Torino. I like Cafe
Yes,
Torino.
it's very nice. Yes, it's a very classical cafe. Yes.
Yeah.
As I said, it's very old, okay? Vanessa, Juliana, you're here again. Good to see you. Adriana, hello. Vanessa, how is Camboriú? Guarapari?
Hello, teacher.
Are you okay? No winds there?
No, no.
Thank God. Thank God. Yes. Good, good. All right. I'm glad to see that everybody's here except for our friend Oscar that is flying back to Brazil. He sent me an email. So tomorrow he's going to be back to class. Okay. He was able to get a plane to Brazil and he decided to come now. Anyway, yesterday we were talking about the use of cell phones and computers to transmit information, right? So I'm going to share my screen again. We have already started, but we have not finished. I have an idea of where we stopped, but as usual, I'd like you to listen first, just to force your listening. So try not to pay attention to the passage, try just to listen and understand as much as you can, okay?
Okay.
All right. So let me see if the video is on. If you can listen, let me know. Can you listen or no?
No.
No.
Not yet.
Okay, so click a button here, okay, share computer sounds. Yes, now you will be able to listen. Okay.
Transmit information. By Alyssa Fleck. Using cell phones and computers to transmit information. By Alyssa Fleck. Modern technology can do some pretty incredible things. It's possible, with current technological capabilities, to transmit digital information over long distances using coding and decoding processes without losing the contents of the original information. The best part is we don't have to do anything besides send a message and wait for it to be received. Consider, for instance, the cellular phone. It wasn't until the early 1980s that this mobile variation on the standard telephone was even available for people to use. Now, it seems like everyone has a cell phone, sending and receiving information in speedy ways invisible to the human eye. There's so much going on below the surface of what we can see when we use our cell phones. One difference between a mobile phone and a traditional landline telephone is you can move the cell phone just about anywhere geographically and still use it to talk to other phone users. No matter how far away you are from someone you call, you can usually still understand each other's voices over the phone, thanks to radio waves in something called a cellular network. It took many evolutions in phone technology to get where we are today. But the current cell phone wirelessly transmits information by connecting to a cellular network. Mobile phone operators provide these cellular networks, which function with the help of cell phone towers, and then calls are made over what is known as a radio link. Through this process, information, in this case, voice input, is broken down and reassembled over the radio link, so the person on the other end instantaneously hears what is said. In other words, as you speak into the phone, your voice is converted into an electrical signal, transmitted in the form of a radio wave by these towers, and then converted back into the sound of your voice by the phone on the receiving end. All this happens in the blink of an eye while you chat over the phone without any distortion. The process of transmitting digital information is not exclusive to telephones. Computers are another instrument that can receive, decode and convert information, though typically this information is not a person's voice, but written content. We may take for granted the ease with which we can pass along information with computers and the internet, but many forces are hard at work processing information to make computers easier for us to use and communication more reliable. The first computer showed up around 1941, but it was much more limited in its capabilities than computers now. In fact, computers are everywhere. Sometimes they are so small we do not think of them as computers at all, though they serve the same function as the computers we have at home, the office or school. Much like cellular telephones, computers were actually first used to transmit sensitive information across geographical spaces by the military at a point when government officials worried it would be possible to knock out a country's entire telephone grid. Computer engineers began finding ways to link their computers together in order to share information among them. This linking began with just a couple of computers and grew to the millions which connect regularly today. Ultimately, that's how what we know as the Internet was developed. Wireless computer networking is also similar to cellular phone use in that computers use the same networks our mobile phones use. While you speak into the telephone using your voice, you typically insert data into your computer by typing on the keyboard. You may decide to share information through an email or access information on a website by typing in or visiting what is known as a hyperlink. When you use the Internet to share and access information, you connect to the relevant network. You can send a message from your computer to another computer anywhere in the world and it will arrive almost immediately, going through many different networks in the process. Still, the information you send does not travel in a single piece as it might through the standard mail service. Instead, it is broken down into smaller digital information. As with a cell phone, the information you send is fragmented into tiny pieces and then reconstructed once it's reached its destination. Along with your message comes other information, for instance about ordering, or how the message should be restructured to make sense to the reader. Your message will also include more basic data about where it came from and where it is supposed to go. Computers and the internet require many high-tech and complicated pieces to run properly, but something known as a router is a key instrument that keeps information being sent from one computer to another going along the correct pathway. The internet also relies on telephone wires and satellite links for wireless information sharing. It's important to note that for the internet to work as it does, many companies have to agree to work with one another. The internet is really a collection of networks working together toward a common goal of allowing information to be shared.
Excellent. How was it? Were you able to understand 100% now or 99%?
40%.
Who's that 2%? I'm going to kill myself here.
Oh my God.
Were you able at least to understand the title? Cell phones and computers transmitting information? Yes or no? Thank God. Well, so that's more than 2% because you have about 4 words. So that's good. Excellent. Okay. You see,
Today is better than yesterday.
it's always better. Wow! There are new students in this class. Hello, Luana. And Maria, you are back. I'm so glad to see you. Okay?
Hello, me too.
What did you say, Maria? I couldn't hear. I heard Luana, but I didn't hear you.
I can't enter in another class.
Ah, it's because the link changed. You have to get the new link and the website, okay?
Okay.
You have to go to Descubra o Mundo website and there is a new link for the other class. But you are welcome to watch this class, okay?
Okay.
Good to see you here, all right? Anyway, where did we stop reading and talking about this yesterday? I remember the expression blink of the eye that Regina said, oh, yes, I understand that, okay?
Think of the eye.
Right?
Right.
And I was surprised to know that some girls still use the blink of the eye to flirt nowadays, okay? I thought this was old tradition, okay? Where did we stop, guys? Do you remember? I think wasn't here ultimately, that's how what we know as the internet. I think we stopped here, didn't we?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, since you are so sure, Vanessa, can you read the next paragraph for us, please? Wireless computer.
Wireless computer networking is also similar to cellular phone. Use in that computers use the same networks our mobile phones use.
Any problem about this or no?
No.
No.
Good. Gloria, can you read the next paragraph, please?
While you speak into the telephone using your voice, you typically insert data
Yes.
into your computer by typing on the keyboard. You may decide keyboard. You may decide to share information through an email or access information on a website by typing in or visit What is known as a hyperlink?
Hyperlink.
Hyperlink.
Yes, that's for instance, when you go to our website and click on the hyperlink, you can come to Zoom and watch the class. That's a hyperlink that connects you, your computer, with our computer. Understand? It's called a hyperlink. Any vocabulary question about this part or no?
No.
You see, nowadays, we talk a lot about global services, global blah, blah, blah. Probably the best example of globalization is the cell phones and the internet, because it's very interesting. Every country has a cell phone or an internet provider, and they have their towers, okay? But in order for my voice to get to you, I use the towers of many different countries, understand? And if there was no agreement between these companies, my voice would never get there, understand? So this is probably the best example of cooperation between companies. All companies have to work together or the message cannot be transmitted globally, understand? Even in countries like China, China needs the towers, you know, the cellular towers, these satellites from other countries in order to send their messages. So this is amazing. I think it's the best service, globally speaking, okay? All right? We have here in this classroom people from many different places. And we all talk using different towers, okay? This is a good job, okay? So Camila, can you read, please, the next paragraph for us?
Yes. When you use the internet to share and access information, you connect to the relevant network. You can send a message from your computer to another computer anywhere in the world, and it will arrive almost immediately going through, I don't know, going going through many different networks in the process.
Yes, this is exactly what I told you, all right? You see, when you use the internet, Camila, to share, not share, you said share. Share is CH, here's share. To share and access information, you connect to the relevant network, okay? Like Regina is in Santa Catarina, she's using the network from there. That is connected to the network from São Paulo, that is connected to the network from, I don't know, Manaus, from everywhere in Brazil, in Canada, in Malta, in Europe, okay? All the towers are connected. And it's a very interesting thing, in my opinion, okay? And instant. I say here, you listen there, okay? Any vocabulary problem about this part?
No.
Okay,
No.
and the preposition, Camila, is through. Just like you see at McDonald's, drive through is the same word, but that is an abbreviation for these, okay? It's the same word, drive through, okay?
Okay, thanks.
Okay, Luana, can you read the next paragraph for us, please? You can stop here at the word its destination because it's very long for you.
Luana, we're much.
Ah, she's mute. Okay. Just a moment. I'm going to change here. You're mute.
Okay.
Okay.
I just
now we can. Yes. Now we can listen to you. Go ahead. Still.
Okay. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. It's good to see you here.
Yep.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So, still, the information you send does not travel in a single piece as it might through the standard email service. Instead, is broken down into smaller digital information. As with a cell phone, the information you send is fragmented into tiny pieces and then reconstructed. Reconstructed,
yes.
Once it's reached its destination.
Okay, just one word that you have to pay attention. We say tiny. Tiny information means very, very small, tiny pieces. Okay?
Tiny.
Okay. Okay, you said teeny. It's tiny. No problem. Any vocabulary problem about this part or no?
No.
Tiny.
Somebody's asking me, but I haven't been able to hear.
What's the meaning of tiny, Roberto?
Tiny means very, very small.
Okay, thank you.
Okay? Sometimes if you offer me, for example, a piece of a cake, I'm going to say, oh yes, please, but just a tiny piece. I'm on a diet, okay?
Okay.
For me, a big piece.
Yes, just a tiny piece, please, okay? Nicholas, can you finish reading this paragraph for us, please?
Of course. Along with your message comes others information, for instance, about ordering or how the message should be structured.
Okay, and Nicholas.
Yeah.
Nicholas, Luana, you see, every time you see a word with a prefix or a suffix, you can break the word in the prefix or at the suffix. For example, structure, restructure. Okay, I think it's easier like construct, reconstruct. Understand? Many times when you try to pronounce all together, okay? So construct, reconstruct, structure, restructure, okay? So should be restructured to make sense.
To make sense to the reader. Your message will also include more basic data about where it came from and where it's supposed to go.
Excellent. Understand this passage? Any vocabulary problem or no?
No.
No.
Okay. I'm going to move the page up a little bit. Adriana, can you read another part for us, please?
Yes.
Computers. Oops. Too much. Okay. Good now. Let me increase this because it's a bit too small for me. I don't know about for you. Computers?
Computers and the internet require many high-tech and complicated pieces to run properly. But something known as a router is a key instrument that keeps information being sent from one computer to another go along the correct pathway. Pathway. The internet also relies on telephone wires and satellite links for wireless information sharing.
It's satellite.
Satellite, okay.
Yes, okay. And we also say as a router, okay? Router,
where?
Second line, but something known as a router, okay? This is that instrument that everyone has at home that is used to connect the computer to the router, okay?
Okay.
This is what was difficult for me to get last week with the stores closed. I couldn't get a router to put here in my house, understand? and I needed a router to use to transmit the classes, okay?
Okay.
Any question about this or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Pathway.
Pathway?
Pathway. Yes, this is the imagine is the same way, only way. Pathway. For example, you are walking in a park, understand? You want to go to a certain place and you come to a point where the road divides. Then you say, excuse me, what is the correct pathway to go to the lake? Oh, it's the left one. Okay, that's the pathway. In Canada, for example, they offer many programs called pathway programs. They prepare you to go to university. Understand? It's the pathway to university. Okay? If you search pathway programs, you will find there are many programs in Canada called pathway. Okay? Any other question? Maria, did you ask me a question?
Pathway.
Ah, pathway, the same. Okay.
And
No
I
other
asked,
question?
did you realize?
Ah, relies. Okay, this is the third person of the verb to rely. To rely, we always rely on. It's always connected. Rely on. That's the same of depend on. Okay, like I rely on Vodafone to talk to you. If Vodafone has a problem, I cannot talk to you because I depend on them. I rely on them. It's a very common expression when you can say to your boyfriend, I rely on you to help me. I rely on them to finish the job, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Any other question? Carol?
No, it's okay,
Vodafone.
teacher.
Vodafone is a company from telephone in Italy.
Yes.
Vodafone.
Vodafone, yes. That's where I live. Okay?
Sorry?
That's where I live. I live in
now,
Italy.
this moment?
Yes.
Great. Where?
In Turin. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And I use Vodafone. Okay? Carol, can you read the last paragraph for us, please?
Yes. It's important to note that for the internet to work as it does, many companies have to agree to work with one another. The internet is really a collection of networks working together toward a common goal of allowing information to be shared.
Very good. Any problem about this last part or no?
No.
Gloria, Dirce, Regina,
Okay,
no.
teacher.
No problem. Excellent.
No.
So let's see the next part, the important vocabulary. Okay. We have here, and everybody understands because it's similar to Portuguese, but every time a verb comes from Latin or any other language other than Anglo-Saxon, Americans have difficulty to understand. That's why they highlight the word transmit, okay? Transmit. It's a verb that means to send or carry from one person or place or thing to another. So there are some examples here. Can you read the examples for us, this?
Television station refused to transmit the program. They transmitted the message to their leader to pass on or spread a disease.
Okay, this is a second, just a moment. This is a second meaning, to pass on or spread. Remember this, spread. Remember Frank Sinatra, start spreading the news, okay? So to pass on or spread a disease, okay?
I don't understand.
Spread?
Yes.
It's to transmit, to pass on or spread. For example, these new virus that we have going on all over the world, okay? It's spreading the COVID-19 to many people. Every day you see there are 30,000 new cases, 40,000 new cases, because the virus is spreading, okay? It's not only China anymore, it's all over the world, okay? The virus has been spread all over the world, okay?
Okay.
Can you continue read the example, Virs, please? Some insects.
Some insects transmit diseases. The doctors are afraid that the the child's disease will be transmitted to others.
Okay. Any problem about these first examples or no?
No.
No.
Now, there is another advanced definition for the, yes? What's the problem, Maria?
No, I don't talk anything.
It's okay? Yes?
Yes.
Oh, good. So you see, it also means to send or convey from a source to a destination. Okay, to send or convey. You can ask me, teacher, what is convey? It's the same of send. That's why, to send or convey from one source to a destination. For example, the message was transmitted by wire from London to Paris. Can you read the other examples for us, Maria?
The message was transmitted by wire from London to Paris. We need to transmit this information to our regional office to communicate or broadcast news or other information.
Okay, just a moment, please, Maria. This is another meaning. Broadcast. You can say, teacher, I don't understand broadcast. Broadcast is the same of transmit, but it's usually done by TV, not cell phone, not computers. Understand? Like sometimes in Brazil, Globo decides not to broadcast a game that is taking place in São Paulo to São Paulo. Okay, so they force the people to go to the stadium. At the moment, there are no games, so they are only broadcasting old games, all right? Okay?
Okay.
You see, now you can read the example, Maria. This channel
transmits the news continuously. Continuously.
Okay.
To pass
it also
on spread.
Spread. Yes.
Oh, teacher.
Yes, Carol.
Sorry. In this case of this channel transmits the news, blah, blah, blah. In this case, in this sentence, can I use the broadcast instead of transmits? Okay.
Perfect, Carol. It's a perfect synonym for to transmit, because the idea here was to focus in the word transmits. But a Native American doesn't like this verb. A Native American or a Canadian would probably say, it's not going to be broadcasted on TV tonight. They don't like transmit. That's difficult for them. They prefer to say broadcast, okay?
Okay, thank you.
No problem. What is the example, Maria? He transmitted the infection?
To his wife.
Yes, and now probably she's going to kill him, okay? Now, this, and the last example, the disease
can be transmitted, become high.
By coughing.
Coughing. What?
Coughing. Yes. Do you know what's coughing?
No.
Coughing. That's why I always tell my students, when you go to a cafe, you ask for a coffee. Like, can I have some coffee? You need to smile, coffee. Because if you go to a restaurant and say, can I get some coffee? The guy will go like, and then I say, I'm sorry, just one cough. Okay. This is cough. Cough, 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 cough. Okay, what do you drink? Yes, exactly. Something like this. Can we have a few coughs? Okay. What we drink is coffee. E, double E. Okay? And not cough. So, how is the COVID-19 virus transmitted? By coughing. Okay? By touching.
I don't drink more coffee.
All right? Understand?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Regina, can you read the other examples, please?
To
Hand down
down
genetically.
as from parent to child.
Okay.
The disease gene was transmitted to the offspring to pass, allow to pass, or cause to pass, or cause to pass some things, light, motion, sound, force, or the like, through or along. Water transmits sound effectively.
Okay. Your British pronunciation was so good, water. I don't know why you changed it to the American pronunciation, water. Okay?
The water is Britannic.
No, water. Is, yes.
Water. Okay.
Americans say water. Okay.
Water.
And in Australia, they say water. Water. Yeah. What the fuck? Okay. Understand this? Any question? Any vocabulary problem about these or no?
Offspring.
Offspring means a new baby. Understand? A new baby. Yes. Oh, the disease gene was transmitted to the baby, to the offspring. Okay? One of the interesting things that happened during this quarantine, in my opinion, of course, is that for the first time in history, because all the zoos were closed, 2 koala bears, okay, were able to reproduce in captivity. This has never happened before. There were no visitors, so maybe they were not shy enough, okay? And the koala is pregnant, and she's going to have an offspring, understand? The first time, never happened before.
So,
okay?
Sorry. Offspring is a new baby, a newborn?
Yes.
Offspring. It's the same.
First.
Okay.
Not the first, it's a new one. Okay.
A new one? Okay.
Yes. But the koala was the first one in captivity.
Yes.
Okay, because there were no visitors, understand? So I think the koalas were not ashamed of having sex.
They were, how do you say, ocupados?
Busy.
Busy.
Yeah, very busy. No visitors, all the time. And then the female koala got pregnant for the first time.
Oh my God.
But visitor is visitor for a museum and zoo, or visitor is alien?
No. Visitor is for everyone. If you have visitors from other planets, they are aliens. Okay?
Aliens only the next month.
Only if they come from other planets, understand?
Okay.
So, the last possible meaning for the verb is as an intransitive verb, is to send a signal by electromagnetic waves. For example, the campus radio station transmit from 10 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock in the evening, okay? And then there are more examples here that, let me see, Erica, can you read the first one, the cones?
The cones receive pulses from the organ electrically that began when the organist hit the keys. The cones can transmit the sounds because they are able to vibrate in just vibrate in just the right way for the sound waves to be created accurately.
Accurately. Yes.
Accurately.
Yes.
Signals of any kind are a way Signals of any kind are a way to deliver a message to a destination. When digital signals transmit information, they do so by turning signals into codes. This is binary code. Binary code, which is very specific and easily quantified. When that code is sent via wave pulses, the transmission of the signal is very reliable. Reliable.
This is the same of the verb that you asked me a few minutes ago, rely. Understand?
Okay.
So nowadays, it's not possible to trust every news we read because there are a lot of fake news. So we can say that those news are not reliable. You cannot trust them, understand? You cannot rely on them. They are not reliable. If I ask you, what do you think of Joãozinho? I'm sorry, I'm not thinking about any Joãozinho in particular, just first thing that came into my mind, okay? So what do you think of Joãozinho? I don't know. I think he's not a very reliable person. I mean, you cannot trust him, understand?
Okay.
Any question about this part or no?
No.
No? Okay. Let me see. Is there anyone else that I forgot to ask to read something? Juliana, Vanessa, yes. Can you read the other example here, Juliana? The sound waves.
The sound waves penetrate the
whale's skin.
Whale's skin and carry a long tail of fat inside its lower jawbone. Jawbone. Those vibrations are
vibrate. Those vibrations
are transmitted to the
whales,
all right. Ear. That help the whale decide whether to go and eat or turn and swim away.
This is a very interesting example and very complicated to understand. Do you understand what they're saying here?
No.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, first of all, what is a whale?
An animal.
Baleia.
It's an animal.
I'm so sorry.
Did I ask anyone to translate? I know what is a whale.
I'm so sorry.
No problem. I forgive you this time. Next time I block you, okay?
Please.
A whale is the biggest mammal that exists on the earth. The biggest mammal. Mammal is animals that drink milk, okay? Whales live in the ocean, okay? And they usually move from, I don't know, continent to continent, looking for food, warmer water, and etc. So the thing here is the sound waves penetrate the whale's skin and cause long tunnels of fat inside the lower jaw. Jaw is this part here, this part, the jawbone, to vibrate. That's how they talk, you know, like that vibration they produce. Yes, it's transmitted by the ear of the whale, not by the mouth. The ear. It's interesting because the ears transmit the sound. And then they decide if they go and eat, or if there are sharks, for example, that attack the whales, they just turn around and swim away. Okay?
Okay.
But teachers, sorry, I missed your explanation about a jawbone. What means that?
Okay. Break it in two parts, Carol. Jaw and bone.
Jaw, bone.
Okay? First, jaw is this lower part of your mouth here.
Okay.
Now this is your jaw. Do you remember that movie? Like the name in English was Jaws, but it was about sharks. Okay. In the picture, in the poster of the film, you have the jaws of a shark, and the bone is the structure that supports the jawbone. Okay.
The bone collector.
Yes.
Yes. The bone. Okay.
There is a very good movie with that name. Yes. With Washington.
Days in Washington.
I forgot the names.
Now
Yes,
it's a
exactly.
Days in
series.
Washington.
Yes, Denzel Washington. That's it. Yes, the bone collector. Okay, and then
Thank you.
That's it. Any other question or no?
No.
Okay. So Vanessa, can you read the last example, please?
For example, when Proust tasted his cook, the sensory receptors on his tongue sent a message to his brain telling it how the Madeleine tasted. The messages are signals transmitted along nerve cells until they reach the brain. When the brain receives these signals, it processes them.
Oh my God.
Can you see it? I can't. Just
no more.
No more.
Yes. Okay. When the brain receives these signals, my bad. Continue.
Oh, I'm lost now.
Here.
The first.
When the brain receives these signals, it
processes them and controls the body's reaction to them.
Yes. In our tongue, we have little sensors called taste buds. Understand? They are taste buds. So when you eat or drink something, they taste it, and through nerve senses, they tell it's good, not good, it's sweet, it's sour, it's bitter, understand? And this signal goes to the brain, and then you have a reaction. I like it, I don't like it, understand? Everything is transmitted by nerves, okay? All right? Any question about these or no?
No.
No.
Okay.
No.
There are two more examples here to finish, and there are some answers and questions to be answered, okay? Like, what are two examples of technology that send information over long distance? The human eye and computers, government officials and computers, cell phones and the human eye, cell phones and computers. If it was the woman's eye, I could accept, but only human, no. Okay. Because a woman can transmit a lot of information through her eyes, okay? When my wife looks at me in a certain way, she doesn't have to say anything, understand? I know exactly what she's saying. That's a transmission, okay? Okay, baby, no problem, all right? Okay, guys, please try to answer the questions. If you have any other additional vocabulary that you're not familiar with, you can ask me tomorrow. Tomorrow, we will just correct these and we'll start a new lesson, okay?
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much for
Thank
watching
you.
my class.
Teacher.
I hope to see you again tomorrow and have a wonderful
Thank you,
evening.
teacher.
See you tomorrow. Good evening.
Now.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, teacher. I see you.
Bye.
Bye.
You wanna go to the other class? You can.
Teacher.
Bye.
Keep beautiful, beautiful.
I love her voice. She's very nice.
Child voice.
Yeah, she's
child.
13.
She's
She's
child.
13. She's 13 years
Oh.
old.
The child voice.
Yes, she's very lovely.
Oh.
Bye-bye, guys. See you.
Bye bye, teacher.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Bye bye. See you tomorrow.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah.